Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Indisciplined Mind podcast for Wednesday, September 28th, 2016. So, today's video game day. And I got a couple Android games for you. And I'm going to share them with you in increasing order of coolness. So, the first one is called Balance. And if you've ever played any Sim City, where you build a city and then you've got to add you got to keep all the infrastructure there, so you got the power lines and all that kind of nonsense there, and you got to put power supplies and all of that. You've essentially played what Balance is. There is a little bit of a difference. So Balance is made by a power company called Stinnett. I believe I got that correctly. And so it's a game, but it's also intended to teach you about power management and how power works and how power is distributed. And so you've got power plants and you've got cities, but you aren't really doing anything inside the cities. The cities is just a block. It's just basically a demand unit for power. And then you've got some sort of power plant. I think the ones on the levels I've been playing have been hydroelectric power. And then you've got a series of towers. And so what you have to do is you have to hook up the city or cities. Holy moly, there's some bass. A city or cities to the power supply. And if your most direct path is from power supply to city 1 to city 2, you've got to have the right kind of towers, because if you just put towers can be overloaded. So if you just put a small tower between the power supply in the first city, the second city is going to be drawing so much power, you basically need to send enough power for both cities to the first city, because half of that power is going to the second city. Jeez, goodbye. And so it's interesting. So because what you'll do is you run your power lines, and then you power up your power plant, whatever it is, to a certain level. It's like a gauge from like 0 to 10. And what you want to do is get it in the green and keep it in the green. Keep it in the green so that for a certain amount of time, once you get it in the green, it's got a bar going across. It's a timing bar. And you get in some of the later levels, and it'll interrupt in the middle and say, a tree fell down on a power line, so one of your towers is out, so you've got to reroute power. So you got to put some more towers down to reroute power. And how long does that take? And you get a number of points, and you get a number of stars, and of course the quicker you are, the more stars and points that you get. So it's kind of a fun little game. I've done a few levels on it. I suspect that at some point you're going to get to a point where you've got cities with different kind of shifting demand outputs, and so you're going to have to kind of keep on top of your power demand. The levels that I've gotten through, they seem to be very, very static once they've got their power demand, and it's pretty much static through. So I got to imagine at some point that's going to like fluctuate if you get into the deeper levels. But it's kind of fun. It's an educational tool, and they're also using it a little bit as a recruiting tool for employees. But it's kind of a fun little game. And then I downloaded this other little game that had a neat look to it, I thought, called Cell 13. And I do not remember the publisher of this game. But it's basically a two-dimensional platform game. You are controlling this little robot that looks like a little ball, but he just moves left and right. And you have to get out of these cells. Now, they're not cells like prison cells kind of thing, but they're basically, you've got puzzles you have to get through. and you have to, there's a whole sorts of different dynamics. So you've got buttons that you have to trip by maybe like pushing a little ball to land on the button, and that'll make a door open. Sometimes to get a ball, or sometimes there's a block instead of a ball. Basically same deal, put it on the button. They're sitting on glass, and you have to get to that. And if you roll on the glass, and the glass will break, and then it'll drop down, whatever, to where you need it. But in some of the, so that's really the dynamic for the first couple of levels, and then they start adding portals. And they're obviously very much inspired by like Portal 2. And you do have to think with portals, but it's different. They do it differently, because obviously you don't have a portal gun, you don't have hands, but so basically what you have is you have imagine little square boxes, and those are your portal, and they're color coded. So you can have multiple on the level, and they're color coded. So you got a blue box and an orange box, and maybe a light blue box, kind of thing. Pair of portals. And what's cool about them is that you can tap on the boxes, and the direction that the portal goes will switch. So it might be top, and then left, and then bottom, and then right. And they've got light bridges like you have in Portal 2, which are just a bridge that you can walk on that's made of like some sort of laser light. It actually looks, from what you can see, it actually looks very much like the Portal 2 laser bridge. And so you can send, if you move one of your portals, so that it interacts with one of the light bridges, you can then have it go through your portal and get to out the other end, and then you can use that, like there's one where you kind of use it as a ramp to get up to some stuff that you couldn't get to otherwise, and things of that nature. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty neat little game. I've done a couple 3 levels on it. Each level has got multiple areas you have to get through. Like the first one's probably got like one area. It's very simple. It's a tutorial basically. The second one has got a couple areas, and then after that they just keep getting bigger and bigger. You go from one area to the next area. It does checkpoint for you, which is nice. So like there's been some times where I think I pushed this box off of this ledge onto a lower ledge, because it's all these layers of ledges and stairs and things, and so you're going up and down this level, and sometimes you need to hit a button to make an elevator go up or down or whatever, and that can sometimes you need to use that just to move your thing, or sometimes you need to move a box up or a ball up or something like that. So it is very two-dimensional. It's not like you're just going left to right. You are going up and down a lot on the screen. But you do have to think with portals a little bit. It's a little bit different from playing the Portal games, but yet at the same time, it's kind of similar. And the addition of the light bridge is pretty cool. So I don't know what else is going to be there. I don't think I really have gotten very far in this game. The only bad thing I will say about it is a resource hog. The back of my phone was getting hot, and it was eating power even while plugged in. So, yeah, it's a game that you're probably going to want to play plugged in. If you had I don't know if I was like on a slow charge or whatever, but it's something where you're going to want to keep an eyeball on your power. You may very quickly find yourself down at 15 or less. But it's a fun little game. I really enjoyed that. It's got a nice, pleasing look. The little robot guy is, basically looks like a circle with 2 dots for eyes, kind of Wall-E style. And you're controlling his body. And there's basically just 3 controls, left, right, and then if you're near a button, there's this little red triangle that pops up, and you can tap on that to do whatever the button's going to do for you. And that's it. And then it's all in the matter of, so like hitting the boxes is just using the touch screen to where the box might be. And then it's just all how you're moving it and how you're controlling the boxes and whatnot. The robot will give you little instructions if you need instructions, and will also say little snarky things that are kind of funny. And that's text-based, so there's no There's no vocal output. There is sound effects. There is music to listen to, but there's no spoken text. And it's kind of fun, and that's called Cell 13. I think I'm on like level 5 or something like that. I didn't get too deeply into that. I don't know if there are more than 13 levels. I hope so. But I mean, once you get to like levels 4 and 5, the levels are rather intricate with multiple different little sections. So it's not like each level is like you just got one specific puzzle and you move on. They're really a combination of puzzles, and sometimes your setups from one area affect the next. I've seen that, so that's kind of cool, pretty neat. So that is Cell 13. Check it out. And the other one was called Balance. But yeah, that's all I got for today. I will be back tomorrow. That's a promise, not a threat. And I'll be talking to you then. So, be seeing you.